Yeah, I do. I think this might have been the very last pro model I had. Yeah, because this is when they switched over to 80 unit, because it used to be 80i, American Dream Incorporated. But I think we parted with Deluxe and went over to Draws, I think. Not Drawers, but Draws. And I think they were more into like snowboarding. But yeah, this might have been my last board. The Mantis, yeah. That was I remember one time I went to New York to shoot a photo with Dimitri, and Ali Fasi was there, and we were shooting this flick, and this praying mantis comes out of nowhere. And during that time, Wu-Tang was like really heavy, you know. And then Ali Fasi, he had names for all of us, you know. He had Jamal was Black Jesus, Spencer was like Shogun Assassin, Mike Hernandez was the Hitman Hearns, and he's like, "Oh, you're the Mantis." I was like, all right, let's do it. I was like, so yeah, that's how that all came about. But the funny thing is, like, I don't think many people that skateboarded knew I was called the Mantis. Like, it was more like people like when I stopped skating for a while, like people that didn't know nothing about skateboarding, like, yeah, I heard you're called the Mantis. And then from there on, they're just like, "Oh, you're the Mantis." Like it's funny, you know. But yeah, it was definitely during that time when Wu-Tang was heavy. Yeah. I think I went to San Francisco in 1995 with Dan Wolf, and I think that was when they were just starting up with Deluxe, and I met Ali Asha, and I think it was over at Drake Jones's place, his apartment, and Ali Asha's just the raddest dude, man. Like we clicked like right away, and he's like, "Yeah, let's do this." I was like, "Oh, for sure, man." He showed me some of the stuff. I was like, "Dude, I'm down." You know what I mean? Like totally. Yeah. Actually, my first sponsor was with a skate shop, Westchester Fairman's, and that was just through with skating with Mike and Bam and filming with Dan Wolf. Most of my sponsors really just got linked through from Dan, because we would go places to film, and then eventually that's how I met up with Bob Lucido, which was the guy behind Screw, and I think I skated for them for maybe a year or so. But yeah, they had some pretty rad dudes at that time. They got Kenny Hughes, R.B. Umali, the filmer, he was on there, Patrick Godotti, a couple guys. My memory is very limited, let me tell you, man. Old age really gets to you, man. First Eastern exposure was actually pretty much identical to the Fairman's video. I'm not sure if people realize that. But when Dan filmed the Fairman's video, during that time he did an Eastern exposure, but most of the footage came from the Fairman's video. So it was almost like a duplicate of it. And then I think he did Eastern exposure 1 or 2, but I get the numbers mixed up. I still had friends that lived in West Philly, so we used to always just meet up with them, and then we started coming down to Love Park, and John and all the other locals were here during that time. This guy's a true Love Park OG right here, from day one. We had this place all to ourselves. There used to be like shrubs, literally. Like all the ledges had shrubs. Like you would like do like a grind next to a shrub. But then eventually that was all cut down. You remember that? It was all shrubs. I remember that one kid, Simon. What was his name? From Jersey? He used to, Simon, what is it? Yeah. He used to do like the gnarliest front side lip slides with the shrubs on the ledge. I was like, dude, it's crazy. Oh man. I think it was like 1997. Man, how many years was that? 18 years? 18 years ago? Was it 18? Yeah, 2015. That was a long time ago. Back then, you didn't mind running from the cops, you know what I mean? But it's a little different nowadays, you know what I mean? Like, so, not necessarily. I think the best time was I love just coming down here skating, just like meeting up with like people, you know what I mean? Like I'll literally just come down every single day, just hang out, skate, and it'll be like midnight. We're still hanging around here, and then we just go grab food, come back. Those were really the best times that I can recall. Not necessarily like a specific trick that went down or whatnot, just like hanging out with like the locals and your friends during that time, you know? Like to me, that was the best part about skateboarding, you know? But then once you start throwing in the sponsorships and stuff and there's more pressure and everything, you know, it kind of takes away from it. As great as it is to be sponsored, you know, I always felt pressure personally, you know what I mean? Like, so my personality, that it didn't work too well with me in regards to that, you know, so maybe that's why my skate career was very short-lived. Yeah, I did. I walked away from it quick. I started getting a lot of sponsorships, started shooting a lot of photos, which, you know, I was psyched, but then at the same time, it was just like, I guess my personality was, you know what I mean, like, it really wasn't for me. Like, I was still hanging out with the guys that weren't sponsored, and, you know, I guess when you start getting sponsored and you become pro, you really should be skating with other pros, which typically that increases your, you know, what you can do, but I don't know. I was never really into it. You know what I mean? Like I was more like just want to chill out with my friends and everything. You know, that kind of. I don't know if that you can say that helped me back or whatnot, but you know, everyone has their own little way of dealing with things. I was born in Vietnam, and then I think it was 1978. My family flee Vietnam to go to try, you know, try to get a better life, but we ended up in the Philippines, which was a crazy situation because my dad pretty much gave everything that we had, everything he owned in Vietnam, got on this boat with a family of 9. My parents, I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters. All right, there's 7 of us and my parents. Got on a boat with literally like 2,000 other people, fled Vietnam, got to the Philippines, and were denied entry. Like they literally would not let us disembark from the boat. So we were living off the boat for about 3 months, and there was news people, news cameras there every single day, like wanting to do interviews with us and everything. And eventually, we got refuge. They let us out. We were refuge there for maybe 5 to 8 months or so. I don't remember. I was like 4 years old at the time. You know what I mean? So I'm very limited to what I remember, but yeah, we was in the Philippines for probably like 8 months or so, and then eventually we came to Philly in 1979, and I'm still around the area now. You know what I mean? I have pictures of it. It's so weird because my friend found it online. He Googled it, and there were actual photos of us, that actual boat. It was because it was like in a newspaper or something. But yeah, it's crazy. I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm like so far removed from it now that I look back at it, I was like, did that really happen, you know what I mean? Like, it's really trippy, man, when I think about it, but it happened, you know what I mean? It's like, so, and I was just telling them, it's like, you know, I didn't really have like a very typical early childhood, you know what I mean? Like, being in that situation and, you know, literally like our lives was on the line just to get away from like a war-torn country during that time. It's crazy because prior to being in Vietnam, my grandparents left China because it was war-torn to go to Vietnam, and then you know, war went on there, and then it's like we left there. It's just like during that time, literally, my family couldn't escape war. You know what I mean? And then now it's 2015, and it's like I'm so far removed from it. It's just, now I look back at it, it's just like I can't ever forget it. You know what I mean? Like they'll always be embedded in my heart and my head. But it's just like sometimes like, wow, was I really in that situation? You know, it's pretty trippy. So.